great mystery of the closed door, about what is hidden where you least expect it. In a distant city, where every morning began with the ringing of bells and evenings, or enveloped in the warm light of old lanterns, there lived an inconspicuous woman named Anita. On the outskirts, her house stood on the outskirts of town, where the paved street gradually turned into a path leading to an old forest. Everyone who passed by noticed a strange patterned door in the wall of her house that never opened. The townspeople gossiped. Some said that behind this door was a hiding place with the riches of Anita's ancestors. Others claimed that it led to dark dungeons. And still others said that there was nothing behind the door but a blank wall. And then one day, when the birds returned to the city in the spring, a boy whom no one knew appeared on Anita's doorstep. "Why is your door always closed?" he asked, looking at Anita with curiosity that was neither fearful nor respectful as adults tended to be. Anita smiled but said nothing. The boy returned again and again. He brought her apples, told her about new games in the yard, and sometimes just sat quietly on the porch. One day, Anita invited him into the house. Inside, everything was modest and simple. A wooden table, an old hearth, shelves with dried herbs along the far wall. The mysterious door still stood, coming closer. The boy noticed that figures of birds, trees, and rivers were carved on it. A whole world enclosed in wood. "Can I open it?" he asked. "You can try," Anita replied calmly. The boy pulled on the carved handle, but the door did not budge. He pulled harder, but it remained immovable. "Don't you want to know what's in there?" he asked in surprise. "Of course I do," Anita nodded. "But not everything we want has to happen right away." The boy thought about it after that. He began to visit even more often. He brought various objects with him. A piece of paper with a drawing, a bird's feather, a smooth pebble. He tried to unlock the door with a key he found in a vacant lot. He knocked on it, listened to the echoes, and even tried to walk around the house. But it was all in vain. The door remained closed. Time passed. The boy grew up and became a young man. He often went into town, came back late, and sometimes spent the night at his friends' houses. One autumn evening, he sat with Anita by the fireplace and asked, "Aren't you afraid that something terrible is hiding behind that door?" Anita stared into the fire for a long time, then replied, "Everything that is unknown is frightening, but everything that is known eventually becomes boring." The young man fell silent. Years passed. He grew up, became a man, and built a house for himself in a neighboring town. once, returning to his native land. He saw that the inconspicuous house by the forest was empty, and the door was still closed. Anita was no longer in the old town. That evening, he sat on the porch, leaning against the door, and suddenly noticed a new pattern on it. A familiar path leading from the city streets to the forest, and a tiny figure of a boy walking along it. He remembered how he used to ask Anita questions, search for answers, break down closed doors, not suspecting that the meaning was to be found not behind the door, but on the way to it. He smiled and realized that the door only opens when you stop trying to open it and simply live nearby, finding joy in every day, every return, every new pattern on the wood. Many years passed, and one day another child came to this house. He also asked about the door and tried to open it. But now he had a mentor who could explain that sometimes the most important secrets are not what lies behind doors, but what is born within each person who seeks answers.
Since then, the house by the forest has become a place where people from all over the city come to sit by the door, talk to themselves, hear the stories of others, and perhaps see the reflection of their own quests on the carved door panels. Because every closed door in our lives may not be a barrier, but rather an invitation to a long journey, to new discoveries, to patience and understanding. And even now, when the spring birds return to the city, someone is sure to find a new pattern on the old door. A sign that life goes on and that the answers are not waiting behind the barrier, but live alongside us. All we have to do is stop, listen, and look at the familiar in a new way.